Good afternoon, good morning, and welcome to the Trimble Catalyst High Accuracy Positioning on Demand webinar. My name is Felicity Bogue. I'm part of the Trimble Geospatial Marketing Communications team, and I'm based down here in Christchurch, New Zealand. Our webinar today is 1 hour in total, and that includes time for questions at the end. All attendees are in mute-only mode, so if you have any questions, please add them to the questions box you can see on your screen. We're recording the webinar, and this will be available to download after the webinar ends. We'll also make the slide deck available as well. Our presenter today is Gareth Gibson. He is the Business Development Manager for Trimble Catalyst. He's been at Trimble for 14 years, and he's worked on numerous Trimble Geospatial technology products, including the flagship Trimble GeoExplorer 3000, 6000 and 7 series, and other Trimble rugged GNSS solutions. He brings more than 20 years of marketing and product development experience working with technical business-to-business solutions. And I will now hand you over to Gareth.
Thanks, Felicity. Appreciate the welcome. Hello, everybody, and thanks for coming along to the webinar today. I can see the attendee list ticking along. We've got hundreds of people on the line, so that's really great to see how much enthusiasm there is for today's topic around Trimble Catalyst. So I just want to quickly summarize the key questions that we're going to answer today, and they are: what is Trimble Catalyst? How is it different to a regular GNSS receiver? What are the benefits of a software-defined GNSS receiver? So Trimble Catalyst is quite different to the regular type of GNSS technology products that Trimble has produced previously. We're going to talk about the benefits and the differences. We want to talk about who is using Trimble Catalyst today and who is Trimble Catalyst really for, and how can you benefit from it? And then what are the steps to get your own workflow Trimble Catalyst enabled? So the main topics primarily will be, what does Trimble do? I'm going to talk a little bit about the background to the project and our organization and why we built the Trimble Catalyst product. We're going to talk about technically how Catalyst works. I will go through some of the performance and functionality aspects of Trimble Catalyst that really make it unique. And then at the end of the presentation, we'll have time for questions and answers as Felicity has intended. I also have a selection of questions that I want to ask you, and the reason that we're doing that is to gather feedback from our user community and our potential user community as well. One of the great things about Trimble Catalyst is that it is really an agile product and something that we can be much more responsive with, and so it's really important for us to continue to solicit feedback around what we've produced, and we can react to your comments and suggestions with much more agility than we've been able to do in the past. So let's kick in. So Trimble as an organization is really about transforming the way the world works. That's our catch cry. We believe in the transformative potential of working with speed, with better vision, and improving the accuracy of execution, and the transformative impacts that those things can have on the way that all people do their work today. Speed is around getting information quickly and getting it in a timely manner when and where you need it. Vision is around getting the right information, filling in the blanks, uncovering the unknowns, and removing the redundancy and the clutter from your day-to-day work. And accuracy is getting the best information available with precision and accuracy. Trimble also believes in the power of positioning and the fact that positioning enables you to do more through locational and situational awareness. And we believe that centimeters should be available everywhere and available for everybody. It's around the democratization of location intelligence. All people, all industries, and all fields should have access to the most accurate possible information. We don't only want to transform the world of surveying or GIS, but we want to transform everyone's world. Anyone in the world can benefit from the technological leaps and the smarter thinking that location intelligence can provide. So Trimble has a rich history of making technological leaps in the field of geospatial technology. In 1994, Trimble was the first organisation to release centimetre RTK and make that available to the geospatial professional with a base and rover setup. There was a somewhat cumbersome physical execution at the time, required a truck to move some of the pieces around, but it enabled for the first time real-time centimetres in the field. By 2016, centimetre RTK was available without the base requirement, so the geospatial professional was fully mobile at that point without the need for a second piece of equipment out in the field with them. But at this point, centimetres is still only available for the geospatial professional, and we're really still missing the everyone aspect of that aspirational goal. And we know that we want to deliver centimetres not just to the geodesist but to everybody, and those sorts of users where position is not the primary goal of their day-to-day work, but where positioning supports their primary activity. There are many applications and millions of users where centimetre accuracy or sub-metre accuracy or anywhere in between those two can add value and add efficiency to the day-to-day work. Call before you dig operations, engineers doing inspections in the field, field technicians, landscaping contractors, the list goes on and on. Delivering centimetres for everyone is a bit more of a tricky goal because it means delivering a much better balance of affordability, availability on demand, simplicity and reliability. GNSS is still quite a complicated technology and has the potential to become unintentionally complicated and complex. So delivering high accuracy requires understanding these complex topics, and centimetres up until this point has required being all in from an organisation standpoint in terms of a big upfront expense. If you want centimetres, you had to pay. And it's remained largely inaccessible to those who don't understand it or who may only have a need for certain tasks some of the time to require that level of accuracy. So Trimble are really focused on removing these barriers without giving up the quality and the reliability of the geospatial information that Trimble solutions are renowned for. And we set out to do something that's not been done before: software-defined GNSS, a technology that's capable of centimetre accurate positioning, but using simply the power, the computing power of your phone or tablet, and to package that and deliver it as an on-demand service. And why are we doing it now? Well, it's really the convergence of four key technology aspects or four key themes: data convergence, platform convergence, connectivity convergence, and societal change. What do we mean by these things? Platforms. By platforms, we're talking about smartphones and tablets. The innovation of the smartphone has become a universal tool for so many workers. As an example, over 70% of adults in the United States now have a smartphone. We're all increasingly reliant on them for all our mobile computing needs. And smartphones have evolved. They've become more powerful, more capable, and more suitable to carrying out a broader range of activities. They're a universal tool, and what's more, they're becoming less and less expensive year by year. The second convergence point is data, and the fact that there's just so much more of it. Online services such as those provided by ESRI for background data and data analytics is simplifying access and availability to the data that workers need to get their job done. This is leading to an empowering movement of an even broader range of capabilities and of workflows. And that's driving a demand itself for higher accuracy information and driving a need to make the best use of the data as it becomes available. The third component here is connectivity and the realization or the acknowledgement that the world is now online. So over 99% of the US population has access in some form to high-speed LTE data today. And over 65% is projected to have access to LTE by the end of 2019. Connectivity has been enabled by the growth of cellular coverage, use of the cloud and software as a service-based solutions. That's enabling or providing access to the right information anywhere and at any time, enabling new levels of field crew management, enabling new workflows, and enabling new levels of cross-organization collaboration from anywhere in the world. And the final convergence point is that of society or societal change, and the fact that we're now at the point where the digital natives are entering the workforce. The digital natives are the generation beyond the millennials, and the workers who have grown up, who are completely immersed in a digital world from the day that they're born. They're completely comfortable and expect only to work in a digital world. These are users with a cell phone in one hand and a tablet in another, and they expect to be able to do all of the work, all of the time, from anywhere in the world in a completely connected mobile way with the device that they have. And so Trimble recognized these 4 convergence points and realized that we had the opportunity to do something that was never or had never been done before. And what we imagined was GNSS or GPS data collection positioning delivered as a service. And that's what Trimble Catalyst is. All you need to use Catalyst is a Catalyst DA1 antenna, a Catalyst subscription or a subscription to our on-demand service, an Android phone or a tablet that's capable of running the soft GNSS engine inside your device, and then finally you need your workflow application. So we're going to talk a little bit more about what those individual components are and why we need them. So the DA1 antenna, we're talking about software-defined GNSS, but there is still a small hardware component of the solution, and that is the GNSS antenna. We still require an antenna to get the level of performance that we need and expect to hit that golden ticket of centimeter accuracy. So current smartphones include a GPS receiver, but they're still single frequency, and the antennas are designed for cost and not for accuracy. The DA1 antenna is small and smart, and it enables upgrading the capabilities of GNSS down to the meter level, to sub-meter level, and even to centimeters. The antenna itself is designed to be light enough to keep in your rucksack, small enough to keep in your toolbox or in the glove box of your car, and it's flexible and low cost. It supports multiple mounting and carrying formats, and it's really the only custom hardware component of the system itself. To talk a little bit about the techie stuff or the specifications for those of you who are interested, the DA1 stands for the Digital Antenna 1. We've created an antenna with exceptional multi-path performance. It's 80% lighter than a regular smart GNSS antenna because the battery and the GNSS board components are completely removed, and we're relying on the phone or the tablet to deliver those capabilities. It's 90% less power hungry than a smart GNSS antenna itself, and so that allows us to run the GNSS engine from the phone's own power supply. And from a GNSS or GPS capability standpoint, it supports L1 and L2C GPS, so dual frequency enabled, and E1 Galileo, the European constellation. It's a completely scalable solution delivered at low cost, enabling 1 centimeter to 100 centimeter accuracy, and it simply connects to your phone or tablet via a micro USB cable coming out of the bottom of the antenna. The antenna still does require a small amount, or the antenna still does require power, and you can power the antenna via an external battery pack, which again plugs in by USB to the antenna, or by simply just plugging the antenna into your Android device, and your Android device can provide power to the antenna itself. It's fully ruggedized from drops and is able to operate in a broad range of temperatures as well. So from a connection and connectivity standpoint, the setup is really quite simple. You can power the antenna from a separate battery pack, which plugs in via USB cable, and then once the antenna is powered, you can connect to your phone, and the antenna itself can act as a host and actually supplement the power of your mobile phone. An alternative setup is to not use an external battery pack, and if your phone supports an OTG mode, the phone itself can provide power back to the antenna. So in doing that, we enable a broader runtime specification. You can operate the antenna from an external battery for part of the day, and as that battery comes to the end of its rechargeable battery life for the day, you can switch to using the phone, and effectively doubling the runtime of the solution in the field. The second part of the solution is the idea of the subscriptions, or the on-demand paid service that gives you access to use Trimble Catalyst in the field. Trimble Catalyst, as we've described, is available in 4 accuracy categories, and you subscribe to the accuracy category that you need for the work that you're doing. We offer a 1 meter subscription, a sub-meter subscription, a decimeter, and a precision subscription, which is another way of saying 1 to 2 centimeter accuracy subscriptions. We've productized these as monthly subscriptions today, so you order the subscription and use it for a month, and can suspend and resume your subscription as you require it. Our subscriptions are user-based, so you define how many users in your organization you want to have access to the subscription service, and the number of months of access that you require, and then pick the bucket where you want to be working. In terms of choosing the accuracy, the duration, and the volume, it's really about mixing and matching and scaling to suit your organization's demands, and we're trying to make this as flexible as possible. So the first thing to think about is, what is the work that you're doing? What is the accuracy demand or the need that you have? If it's general use or a more precise GIS data collection style of work, if you're working for a utility company and are needing to do relocation or navigation back to buried or fixed assets of some sort, then your accuracy requirement may increase even further. And if you're in some form of niche market where absolute precision is necessary, or vertical accuracy is very important to you, then you may be interested in working at the precision level. The next thing to think about is the timeline of the work. How big is the project that you're working on? Is it a 1 to 2 month small project? Or is it a 3 to 6 month larger project? Or is it seasonal, where you're wanting to do field work while the sun is shining, and then put things on the shelf again while the snow and the bad weather, when the snow and the bad weather comes? And then thinking about the workers, how many workers in your organization need access to this tool? Are you going to purchase a subscription for the 1 or 2 individual users that may require it, or are you thinking about a full team deployment? Catalyst is completely scalable to suit a broad range of different situations in terms of accuracy, the timeline of the work involved, and the number of field crews that you want. You can also transfer licenses between your users for even greater flexibility. So if you have a small team, but each of the different users may have a need to use Trimble Catalyst or use high accuracy GNSS at different times, that one license or a number of licenses can be mixed and matched and shared across an organization one at a time, but as people's workflow and projects change, they can all make use of the same technology. And because this is a software-defined service, we do have the opportunity for even further granularity of our subscription model. So moving to an incident-based billing profile, or a job-based billing profile, or alternative time breakups in terms of days or months, or even longer term if appropriate as well. The third component of the system is the BYOD device, and the thing that's running the engine itself. So Catalyst, as we've described, is taking the work that's traditionally done by a dedicated hardware GNSS receiver and performing that computation and that heavy lifting directly on the main CPU of the host phone or tablet. It's doing some really quite remarkable things in terms of the actual technological innovation under under the hood. And as such, it's doing some fairly heavy computational load, or it requires a fairly heavy computational load on the phone, and as such, there's a few limitations on what sort of phone or tablet you need to use in order to use the Catalyst service. At this time, Trimble Catalyst is Android only, and you require a relatively current OS version. Android 5 Plus is our minimum requirement. You need a relatively fast processor as well, and we've set a minimum standard of a 1.4 gigahertz process quad-core with 1.4 gigabytes of RAM available. We recommend that your hardware is at least 64-bit, and ideally you're also using a USB OTG capable device, which is what you need in order for the phone to provide power to the antenna. And the fourth component of the system is Catalyst software and apps. Two components on the left here, the Trimble Catalyst service and the Trimble Mobile Manager application, are the two key components that enable you to actually do the work, and then the final piece is your workflow application. So the Trimble Catalyst service is the engine that's doing the GNSS computation in the background, and that runs as a background service on your device. And Trimble Mobile Manager is the tool that you need to manage your subscription and access to the service itself. Using Trimble Mobile Manager, you sign in with your Trimble ID. The Trimble ID is the thing that is what your subscription is associated to, and then those two things work in parallel to serve up positions to other applications to consume that GNSS information. In terms of integration, we offer two different methods effectively of getting Catalyst generated positions into your workflow. The first method of doing this is simply just using a location enabled application. In this way, the Trimble Mobile Manager app manages your sign-in to the Trimble Catalyst service and runs in the background and shares information or shares GNSS applications with your device, effectively overriding the GPS receiver that may be installed on your Android phone or tablet. And the second way is through Catalyst Ready and partner applications. Using our SDK, you can integrate Trimble Catalyst directly into your workflow, enabling richer workflows and a deeper level of GNSS information to be shared with your application. This allows applications to be built that do complex GNSS averaging. The metadata from the GNSS engine can flow all of the way through your workflow, creating an auditable trail of information so that you can verify the quality and the history of the GNSS information that you capture, so that when you come back in 3 months and 6 months and a year's time, you know how that information was collected, you know how accurate it was, and what was the process that was used to collect that GNSS information. In terms of applications, today we have a small list but a growing list of applications that have been made Catalyst ready already. The Trimble TerraFlex mobile application is our GIS data collection application, and that's available on the Android store today. We recently released PinMap for Android, which is an entry point surveying application and land information cadastre-based application, which is Catalyst enabled. We've released the UAV ground control application, which is an example of a very simple application making use of the Trimble Catalyst engine for capturing ground control points for unmanned aerial mapping applications. UAV ground control is also available through the Play Store and simply allows you to do one thing very well, which is to capture ground control points, export them as a CSV file for use in your own offline aerial mapping application for knowing where those ground control points are and reflecting that in your aerial photogrammetry. We've started working with a number of business partners as well. So K-Mobile, one of our close partners from the United Kingdom, have released, or Corac Group one of our close partners from the United Kingdom have released K-Mobile, the first Trimble Catalyst-enabled data collection application from a partner. We're working closely with a number of other partners as well. AugView is a company in New Zealand creating augmented reality, underground asset visualization. They are looking at integrating the Trimble Catalyst engine into their workflow. And the extremely popular collector application from Esri is also in the process of integrating Trimble Catalyst directly into its application as well. Trimble Catalyst is also compatible with any location-enabled application available through the Play Store. So using the location sharing functionality of Android, you can simply pass through positions from Catalyst and use it directly with any app just by simply downloading that app from the store. Or if you're a developer and you're interested in integrating Catalyst into your own workflow, we are soon to release the Catalyst SDK, which will enable developers to add even more value to their own applications by integrating Catalyst directly. As a starting point, there is no cost of entry to that SDK program, and you can start using Trimble Catalyst today with the application that you already have as a starting point, and then once you figure out how Catalyst works for you, make that leap into the SDK. So we're interested to know what applications are out there and applications that folks are using today that may be interested in using our SDK. Information for that is available on our website, catalyst.trimble.com, and I encourage all developers on the call today to head to the website and express their interest to be part of the developer program. So at this point in the presentation, I just want to pause and change the pace a little bit and ask a couple of feedback questions of the audience that we have on the line. So, as I mentioned, we're deeply interested in getting impressions of Catalyst and how it's going to work for you. One of the things that Catalyst is enabling is unlocking centimeters for millions of users for whom high accuracy GNSS will have been inaccessible due to cost reasons or technology reasons or complexity reasons in the past. And so we're really interested in learning more about what those workflows are and what are the barriers to entry for using Catalyst for these customer groups. And so we've got a few simple questions that we'd like you to try and answer for us. The first question is around field apps for Catalyst. So we've talked about the fact that Trimble Catalyst supports any field application today, and we want to know what applications you are using for your fieldwork today. We're able to provide up to 5 options in the chat window or in the questions window. So if you could just let us know by selecting the box which is your primary application for doing fieldwork, TerraFlex, Esri Collector, TerraGo, Fulcrum, or some other application. I'm expecting that there will be a huge number of other applications as well. If you do have another application that you're using, enter it into the questions tab of the interface, and we'd love to see what those are. So we're seeing the data coming in. It's still ticking over. We're seeing a lot of interest for Esri Collector, and unsurprisingly, a lot of interest for other applications as well. We'll let it go for a couple more seconds. Okay, I think that's probably enough. Let's take a look at the poll results and see what the data says. So 15% TerraFlex, which is the Trimble data collection application. Esri Collector, not surprised to see such a high number of Esri Collector users. And the interesting thing for me when we go back and look through this look through the data that you've provided is the information around the other applications that you're using as your primary field application. So we don't have time to go through them all right now. We're just calling out a few things. There's Mapit, GPS, there's OpenPDFs, Connect application from Jeff Pierce. Some of you are still on the Windows Mobile 6.5 based applications, TerraSync, ArcPad, Topo Explorer I see there. So there's a huge range of users. So this is really interesting information, so thank you for providing that. Okay, so we'll move now to the second question, which is around mobile operating systems. So you will have seen that today Trimble Catalyst supports Android only as our first release. We recognise, and a lot of the feedback that we have had so far is that some users don't want to use Android, or that Android is not able to be used in the industry. So we're interested to collect some data around that as well. So the second question is, what is your organisation's preferred mobile operating system today? Android, iOS or Apple, Windows 10, or some other mobile application? We can see the data coming in. I'll just wait until it steadies off, and then we can show you the results of this poll as well. If you do have an other response, I would appreciate it if you could add what that other operating system is in the questions pane as well. Okay, that looks like we're pretty steady now, so we'll close that poll off as well. And here are the results. So over 50% of users using Android, a very strong showing for iOS, 31%, and 10% or 11% for Windows 10. And I'm interested to see that there is still a relatively strong showing for other operating systems as well, and we'll be interested to see what they are. There's a few mentions of Windows Mobile in the questions box. So the interesting thing for iOS is that it's quite a geographically different result depending on who we're talking to. The latest statistical information that our marketing research team has provided is an indication that iOS has a very strong showing in the enterprise market, for example, in North America. Upward of over 50% of organizations in North America using iOS, but it's positive to see such a strong number coming back there for Android as well. And what we're seeing is that Android offers great flexibility, and that was part of the an easier app integration as well, and that was part of the reason that our first release for Trimble Catalyst was an Android release. So that's really interesting information, so I thank you for your feedback there. And now on to the final question of this section, which is around the billing building blocks and the monthly subscription usage. So Trimble Catalyst supports unlimited use month-by-month subscriptions today, but we're interested to get your feedback on that as well. So that type of subscription method is great for project work and for seasonal work. Interested to hear your opinion. So how would subscription or billing time building blocks best work for you and your organization? Is per month billing perfect for you? Or would you prefer something different, perhaps per day, per hour, or per minute billing, or some other form of billing? If you do have another preference, we'd be interested to hear what that is. Maybe it's point-based, maybe it's project-based, or maybe it's enterprise-level organizations that are looking for just a flat rate of access for a number of users. Let us know in the comments in the questions box. Okay, and I think we can close that off. That's starting to get into the noise again. So here we are, some interesting results. So it's great to see that per month usage is perfect for such a high number of you, and the per day usage is the second most common billing preference there, which is again really interesting for us, and we can look at ways that we can try and address that feedback. And again, a relatively high number of other responses as well. So we'll take a look at the data there, and we appreciate those of you who have taken the time to add some additional comments in the questions section. Okay, so thanks very much for providing answers to those polls, and we'll now flick back to the main presentation. And I think that I need to share my screen once again, and I will quickly find where my presentation window has gone. There we go. Read the questions. Okay, so how does Catalyst stack up in terms of affordability, availability on demand, simplicity and reliability? So those 4 factors that we talked about at the start of the presentation around what it means and what it needs to be accessible to a broader range of non-professional users. So affordability. One of the great things about Trimble Catalyst is that it's really lowering the barrier in terms of the entry point costs of accessing high accuracy information. So up to 15 times less cost up front to get a centimetre capable solution into the hands of a broad range of users. And that massive reduction in upfront cost means that Trimble Catalyst is available or accessible to a much bigger range of customers. It makes centimetres something that's realistic for fleet-wide deployments, makes it realistic for non-surveyors who can't justify dropping tens of thousands of dollars on a high-end, fully ruggedized, dedicated all-day use GNSS system. You simply subscribe to the required level of service, you pay for what you use, you pay for when you need it, and you can scale up and scale down with minimal capital expenditure. You can pay from the operating expense part of your budget. You can make the access to GNSS and access to high accuracy information part of a specific project budget rather than relying on capital expense, availability of capital expense funds. Simplicity and ease of use. So one of the really key things for us was to try and make Catalyst and to continue to try and make Catalyst as simple and as easy to use as possible. So Catalyst is really easy to set up and connect. You've seen the physical description of the system. You just plug the antenna into your phone or tablet. The Android operating system detects that the antenna has been connected and validates that you want to connect to it. And connection is simply a matter of tapping the connect button. There's really not much more to it than that. As an application and as a service, Trimble Catalyst can be used in or out of internet coverage areas. You don't need to be actively working in an internet area to use Trimble Catalyst. And we've designed Catalyst to deliver the best possible positions in all conditions without you really needing to think about it at all. There's a zero configuration corrections hub, Trimble Corrections Hub or TCH, which provides a consistent coordinate system output. In TCH, all sources are normalized to ITRF 2014 current epoch. So it doesn't matter what type of correction is being used by the system, VRS Now, RTX, or SBAS, the position is going to come out in a consistent frame so that you can then transform and use it as you need to in your own application as required. In terms of availability, we wanted to make sure that Trimble Catalyst was absolutely available in as many geographic environments and locations as possible. For the 1 meter and sub-meter subscription levels, we have truly worldwide access, and the level of accuracy is available both in cellular coverage areas, so the blue and yellow areas of the world, effectively worldwide coverage. You can get to 1 meter and sub-meter subscriptions anywhere in the world. And the additional capability of Trimble Catalyst to deliver corrections through L-band or deliver the service enabled through an L-band or satellite delivered correction, the area in blue, you can also work outside of internet coverage to achieve 1 meter or sub-meter level accuracy as well. In terms of the availability for the higher accuracy levels, decimeter or 10 centimeter and precision 1 to 2 centimeter accuracy, the subscription for Trimble Catalyst bundles everything that you need together to get those accuracies of positions. And in areas of the world covered by Trimble VRS Now, it just works. So the areas on the left there, you can use Trimble Catalyst at decimeter and precision without any further configuration or steps. Everywhere else in the world, decimeter and precision accuracy is also achievable if you have IP delivered corrections from a local source available to you. So a separate So a separate correction source may need to be configured in other parts of the world to achieve decimeter or precision accuracy. There's a broad range of different services available worldwide. Some of those are available at no cost. Some of those do require a separate account with the location provider. But the point is that you can use Trimble Catalyst in virtually any part of the world in and out of internet coverage areas. The next aspect that I want to talk about is the on-demand nature of Trimble Catalyst. So making Trimble Catalyst available, making it on demand was really important to us. So it is a subscription-based service. It uses the phone or the tablet that you already have in your pocket, and you use it when you need it, and you don't use it when you don't. It works worldwide with available collections. So what this all comes together to mean is that it is an on-demand, fully available service, very flexible. You can keep the antenna in the glove box of your car. You can keep it in your rucksack. It's ideal for sporadic, seasonal, or incidental work and projects, and it's ideal for applications that you need to use it on demand, and you can't justify the expensive nature of a dedicated, fully professional hardware receiver. We've had a lot of questions around performance of Catalyst and how it compares to different types of GNSS receiver, and so this next section of information really talks a little bit more about that, how it's different, in this case, to a professional GNSS receiver. So Trimble Catalyst Soft GNSS is prosumer. It works where you works from a physical and mechanical standpoint, whereas a professional GNSS receiver is industrial. It works in all environments, extremes, even parts of the world or places of the world where it would be fairly inhospitable for a field worker to be. The battery on a GNSS, on a Trimble Catalyst system, it's designed to be good enough. It depends on your phone and what the power requirements are of your phone or your tablet, whereas a professional GNSS system is designed to work all day and support multiple battery swaps throughout the day, if appropriate. From a field life perspective, Trimble Catalyst is upgradable as your phone upgrades as well. So as the capabilities of your phone computationally increase, Trimble can release updates to the Trimble Catalyst engine to make better use or greater use of that of your phone's computational capabilities and increase the capabilities of the receiver itself. So this is a GNSS system that we can update with an app update. We simply push it to the Play Store, and all of a sudden your receiver is more capable than it was the day before. The field life on a rugged GNSS system is expected to and needs to last for years. The cost component, we're talking about a low cost, primarily OPEX Catalyst Soft GNSS receiver service, whereas a professional GS system, the initial cost and outlay is up front. It's typically high, and it's typically a capital expense. In terms of speed of performance, Trimble Catalyst, Trimble Catalyst does make some compromises in terms of balancing cost and performance, and this has an impact on the speed of performance of the system, especially at higher accuracies, and how quickly you can initialize and converge to a high accuracy position. Whereas a professional GNSS dedicated system provides the best possible capabilities. There are no compromises, and it works extremely well and is extremely robust as well. From a GNSS standpoint, Trimble Catalyst today is L1, L2C, E1, and L-band capable. Again, providing that balance of performance and cost. It's enough to get a high accuracy position, but it's not providing coverage of all of the bands that are accessible and achievable or usable in a Trimble professional GNSS system like the Trimble R10. And in terms of the detail or what this means for RTK performance, Trimble Catalyst has slightly longer initialization times, but it does have excellent reconvergence characteristics and capabilities, whereas a Trimble professional GNSS system has faster initializations, and because of the type and style of receiver, it offers a standard reconvergence time. So comparing those same categories to a smartphone GPS, on the smartphone GPS side, it's much more of a lottery. The build quality, it's consumer devices. Typically, there are some rugged smartphones, but you really get what you get. You don't really know or rely on what you can get. Typically, relying on a GPS-driven smartphone workflow You're going to need some form of battery backup or power pack for your phone. The field life of your device is going to change, and so the software applications that you can run may need to change over time. The cost is again mixed. The speed of a GPS receiver on a smartphone is fast, but it's typically loose. Fast and loose is a good way to describe it. You'll get a position, but there's no telling how good that position is going to be, no matter what the phone reports. So from a robustness standpoint, the accuracy is typically poor, and it's difficult to characterize and know what it is, what you're getting. And that's reflected in the GNSS bands and the antenna performance of the GPS as well. Typically a smartphone is an L1 only GPS receiver. Some newer phones also track GLONASS as well, but the antenna is designed for the lowest possible cost, and that means immense compromises in terms of the positioning characteristics. And most people understand and realize that using a smartphone GPS for mapping work or for any form of high accuracy work or repeatability is just not a good idea. We wanted to try and illustrate some of this with some real world information as well. So we've got some map data that I'll just quickly run through here to help illustrate these points. So the data collection exercise here was effectively walking this trail in an urban forest or an urban park in Christchurch, New Zealand, where you see the red line as a map as created by Trimble Catalyst with a precision subscription, and the blue line is the same line mapped with a phone GPS. And now we don't have a truth line to compare to, but in talking to the tester that was doing this work, she described the fact that she was taking the path of least resistance. So you see her sort of hugging the curves a little bit through the red line, and her information or indication to me was that it was, that was pretty much performing as she walked in that area. And you can see the difference between the red and the blue line in terms of the skips and the jumps in the blue position in relatively light canopy. So relatively benign conditions there, but the phone GPS is good enough to provide a position, but it really isn't good enough to do much more than give you a general indication of where you are. And in environments like this, the phone GPS is still reporting 1 to 2 meter accuracy, whereas the reality is that the position is wandering by 5 meters up to 10 meters in places as it jumps and skips around. Similarly, we wanted to do an exercise where we sort of tried to illustrate how good the Trimble Catalyst soft GNSS implementation is compared to a smartphone and compared to a high-end fully dedicated GNSS receiver. So imagine a scenario where you are perhaps mapping or needing to do some form of stakeout for a sports facility or for an event management, where you know that you have a very specific location where you need to lay something out or to relocate something. In this instance, we're using an urban sports complex outdoor. These are netball courts. The true dimensions of a netball court is around 465 square meters. The court is about 30 meters by 15 meters in length. And our test team went out and did a stakeout on the 4 corners of 6 of these courts here, and you see the results as mapped with a Trimble R10 GNSS receiver. And so the difference between the true dimensions of the court and the measured dimensions in terms of surface area come down to the technique used by the tester in this case. So it's a very small difference between what was measured and what the true dimensions are, whether or not they were directly on the white paint or not. And the average horizontal precision of the individual points used to capture those 4 corners of each court is 1 centimeter as reported through Trimble Access. Repeating that same test using the Trimble Catalyst receiver, the red dots represent the 4 corners of each court as measured by Trimble Catalyst. And it's really difficult to illustrate anything meaningful here because at the zoom level there is no difference. The areas measured are within less than 1%. In fact, in most cases, less than 0.1% in all instances using the Trimble Catalyst receiver here. So it serves to illustrate that as a high-end capable receiver for doing sporadic work like this, Trimble Catalyst is extremely capable with an average horizontal position on the points of around 2 centimeters. doing the same thing with a phone GPS, it really, again, just illustrates the difference of what you're seeing. And so if you're trying to do any form of mapping work to any level of accuracy, then the reported horizontal precision of the phone-based receiver doing exactly the same thing was around 2 meters, but the actual measured area, if you look at the map itself, we're seeing 4 to 5 to even 10 or 15 meter errors in some of these locations. So it gives you an idea, and it just helps to illustrate the differences between a quality design system that's intended to be optimized for accuracy and performance as well as cost, compared to an alternative system that is purely optimized for cost. In terms of limitations, it's probably fair and important to cover off some of the limitations of Trimble Catalyst as well. So it's worth noting that at a system level, you may be limited by your choice of phone or tablet. So phones and tablets have a somewhat limited operating temperature range. They have a somewhat limited battery life. They have peculiar behavior or power characteristics at low powers. So for example, Android on some devices is particularly aggressive with how it manages the computational performance of your device when the battery gets below a certain power level. Android or Google does this to increase the runtime of your phone, but it has an impact on applications running on your phone that require higher computational requirements. So something to be aware of. And of course, water and dust resistance as well. So because Trimble Catalyst relies on using an Android phone or device, the environment that you can use Trimble Catalyst will be somewhat limited by the environments where you can use your phone or your tablet. So it varies by device, but most devices will require an environmental case for reliable screen performance in the rain, for example, or in other wet conditions. So something to think about and be aware of. And that's really a summary of what Trimble Catalyst is. So it provides options to meet a broader set of users and user requirements more easily. It's much easier to buy applications for Trimble Catalyst. It's an affordable option delivered as a subscription service where the usage and the service level based pricing allows greater flexibility. Trimble Catalyst as a software delivered GNSS receiver gives you technology assurance. We can deliver functionality entirely in software, and we can upgrade and optimize functionality over time with upgrades and app updates deployed through the Google Play Store. Your subscription includes automatic updates. So if you purchase Trimble Catalyst, you have access to the service and the most current version of the product. No matter what, you don't get stuck with buying a version of the product and then a week later an upgrade becoming available via an app that you're not eligible for. And it allows you to get access to high accuracy GNSS with minimal capital expenditure. So we're enabling a much broader range of applications for millions of users who don't use high accuracy GNSS today, and we're really excited about it and interested and excited to learn where Trimble Catalyst is going to take you. So hopefully this has given you a good introduction and summary to what Trimble Catalyst is. If you are interested in getting more information, and I hope you are, we invite you to head along to Trimble Catalyst to view more about Trimble Catalyst on the Catalyst website, which is catalyst.trimble.com. We've also got a great little selection of videos available on YouTube on the Trimble Geospatial channel. Just head to youtube.com and do a search for Trimble Catalyst, and you'll find a playlist of videos with some excellent customer stories explaining how Trimble Catalyst is being used and imagined in different parts of the world already, as well as some technical overview videos to provide a little bit more detail over and above what we've talked about today. If you want to try Catalyst, I would also invite you to contact your nearest distributor. So Trimble Catalyst is being exclusively distributed through our dealer network, and the easiest way for you to find your local dealer is to head to catalyst.trimble.com/shop now, and there is a distributor locator on that website, and it will tell you who the local Trimble Catalyst dealers are for your part of the world. And with that, we will open up the gates for questions, and we've been taking questions throughout the webinar, and we'll just have a quick look to see what we've got. So the first question we've got here is to please talk about scenarios in heavy forest canopy without solar reception when we have a chance. So hopefully we've covered that partly today, but I'll just reiterate for Alan, who asked that question. The Catalyst subscription levels are available in the 4 accuracy flavors: 1 meter, sub-meter, decimeter, and centimeter. If you're operating outside of cellular coverage, then the corrections will be delivered to your phone at the sub-meter and meter level via L-band satellite, and that is a line of sight service. And alternatively, it will also be delivered to you via SBAS if you're in a part of the world that has WAS or EGNOS. There's also the possibility that you can and will use corrections from that augmentation system as well. In very heavy canopy, I think it's worth noting that Trimble Catalyst is still a GNSS receiver and is affected and limited by the same things that all GNSS receivers are limited by. And the best way to really get a feel for that is to try it. So I'd encourage you to get in touch with a distributor and try a demo. We will provide some further information around heavy canopy performance, comparing Trimble Catalyst to both our high-end receivers and to off-the-shelf smartphone receivers as well. So thanks for that question. Is the DA1 a dual frequency antenna, from Rakesh? Yes, yes it is. It is a dual frequency GPS L1 L2C receiver, and so as a result of that is capable of centimeter level positions. You don't need a different version of the antenna itself. A question around whether or not the Catalyst antenna is IP rated. So yes, it is IP6X, I believe, or IP65. I can validate that. The information is available through the Catalyst website on the data sheet for the DA1 antenna, or for the Catalyst system. So head along to catalyst.trimble.com to absolutely get a valid result for that. So a question around subscription pricing along with the DA1 antenna. So the pricing for Trimble Catalyst it varies by region and parts of the world. So rather than providing a false number for someone, I prefer that you do get in touch with your Catalyst distributor, and they will provide very quickly the pricing for your locality, and that will depend on the additional services and support that the distributor is able to supply in your region as well, and the exchange rate, obviously. But to give you a sense, in the North American market, where we have a broad number of users on the call today, pricing for the antenna starts at $350, and pricing for the subscription starts at $40 a month, and higher as you go through the accuracy levels. So does the Trimble mobile app, the Trimble Mobile Manager app, report the position residuals at 68% confidence or at 95% confidence? That's from Alexander. So yes, the answer to that is, my understanding is that we are reporting a 68% confidence HRMS figure at this point in time, and I acknowledge the fact that we have had requests for 95% confidence interval, and that is a federal requirement, or a requirement that's coming in certain parts of the world, and we are looking at ways to enable that capability and functionality and to report different levels as well. Let me see, what else do we have here? I'm just weeding through the questions. There's a number of responses that have been provided for some of the other poll questions, which I need to jump through. How much data will I be charged for use of Trimble Catalyst from my mobile provider. So I don't have a really good answer for that. Obviously, that will depend on the data plan that you have with your cellular service provider. The correction information we can certainly provide a number for, which describes the amount of data that generates. It does vary by the number of satellite vehicles that the VRS network is broadcasting corrections for, but the number is relatively small. We're not talking about broadband use by any stretch. So compared to website traffic use or online video streaming, it's a much lower number than that. Let me see, what else do we have? I'll just get you to scroll back up to the top of the list again, Felicity, if that's okay. Will a Bluetooth connection be coming or only connected via micro USB? So at this point in time, we only support a USB connection to Android devices. It was evident through your feedback through the polling questions that iOS support is desirable. And the last point that I will make there is that we do also support devices that want to connect to via USB-C connector as well with an adapter, and there's information on that on the catalyst.trimble.com website. So we are at time. So rather than keep you on, I think we'll draw an end to the webinar at this point. And so I just like to take the opportunity to thank you for joining the poll today. If you do want to contact us or have more questions, Felicity, the moderator, can take your email, or I can. Our email addresses are there. Again, thank you for joining today's webinar. For more information, head to catalyst.trimble.com, and we hope to see you again soon on another Trimble Geospatial webinar. Thanks for your time, and have a great day wherever you are in the world. Thank you very much.